Okay, I hope it's visible. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
so on today's class, I will discuss about tissues. So if you remember in the previous class, I have when we are dealing with the introduction to human anatomy and physiology, I have said right. So actually, tissues how they are formed. So tissues are usually formed when the it is formed by the combinations of many cells. Okay, so many cells combines together to form a tissue. So and these tissue also we have different types of tissue, okay, based on their shape, based on their function. So we usually have these four types of tissue. We have the epithelial tissue, we have the connective tissue, the nervous tissue, and the muscles tissue. Okay, so all these we'll be discussing one by one. So what are tissues? Actually, these are groups of cells that have a similar structure and they act together to perform a specific function. So this you'll be learning more in detail when we will go to each and every types of tissue. So you'll be seeing like how each and every types of tissue, they have some particular structure. Okay, so and based on their structure also, those who have a similar structure, they combine together and they have also some form of specific function. And the tissue of the bodies consists of large numbers of cells and they are classified according to the size, shape, and functions of the cells. So actually, a tissues cells combines to form a tissues. Tissues together they combine to form an organ. Okay, if you remember in previous class I have said organ they combine together to form a system. Okay, and the system combines together to form a human being. So that is how the process goes on. So when we say tissues, they are the collection of or the combination of cells. So whenever the cells are combined together, they are called as the tissues. So actually we have four main types of these tissues, and again under these four main types they also have some subdivision. Okay, like we have the four types which we call as the epithelial tissue or the epithelium, then we have the connective tissue, the muscle tissue, and the nervous tissue. So each and every types of this tissue again they are being subdivided into many types. Okay, so which we'll discuss later one by one. Okay, so just remember these we have these main types of tissues: epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscles, and the nervous tissue. Okay, so let's start with the first tissue that is called as the epithelial tissue. Okay, so this group of tissue it is found covering and lining the cavities like your stomach, like your small intestine, your heart. Okay, then hollow organs. Whenever we say hollow organs, that means these are those organs which usually form a hollow tube. Okay, inside of them, like for example, our stomach, our small intestine. Okay, large intestine. So these are hollow organs, and also the tubes like your esophagus. Okay, so it is also found in the glands. So the structure of the epithelium it is closely related to its function. So actually the main function of the epithelial tissue it is this three. Okay, first of all, what is the first main function of the epithelium? First, it acts as a protection. Okay, so it acts as a protection of the underlying structures. For example, it protects the structure. Suppose if it is present in the stomach, it protects the stomach from any form of dehydration. It protects it from any form of toxins. Okay, or it protect it from any form of invasion by any foreign materials like your microbes, like a virus. Okay, and also it protects it from any form of mechanical damage. So this is actually the first main function of the epithelial tissue. So second is the secretion. So what does it helps? So this epithelial tissue also it usually is secrete certain forms of hormones. Okay, and also it also helps in the secretion of mucus, different types of enzymes. So all this it is done in the by the epithelial tissue. And the third one is absorption. So what does whenever we say absorption, it is especially okay if you see in the part of the digestive system, which you'll be learning later in the digestive system, this chapter. Actually, the small intestine. Okay, so our small intestine is actually it plays a very important role in absorption. So it is that area of the digestive system where all the nutrients, whatever we are eating, okay, whenever we are consuming food or anything, it is being observed in the small intestine. And this small intestine it is usually lined with this epithelial tissue. Whenever we say line, that means it acts as a covering of the that particular organ. Okay, it acts as the outside covering or the inside covering of that particular organ. Okay, so these are actually the uh, three main function of the epithelial tissue. Okay, so first it acts as a protection. Okay, where it protects it from any form of toxins, from any form of invasion of any form of foreign materials or your viruses, microbes, all those. Okay, it also helps in the secretion, in which it secretes certain forms of enzymes, mucus, hormones, all these are which are needed for the body. Okay, then it also acts as an absorption. Okay, absorption means it tries to absorb nutrients, it absorbs water. Okay, so all this, so whenever we ingest any form of food, for example in the small intestine, okay, it is done in that way. So with the help of this epithelial tissue, so whatever nutrients we are consuming or we are eating, it is being absorbed. Okay, water, it is being absorbed with the help of the epithelial tissue. Okay, so this is actually the main function of the epithelial tissue. Okay, so you have to remember where it is usually found. Okay, so this epithelial tissue, it usually found covering the body and the lining cavities. It can be your heart, it can be your small intestine. Okay, it can be your uterus, okay, ureters, all this. And whenever we say hollow organ, that means these are those organs which have a hollow. Hollow means what? Empty, right? Nothing is inside. So that is the meaning of the word hollow. So this is where it is usually line, or where it, lining means it covers. So we'll be going with again this epithelial tissue. Again, we have two subdivision. We have the simple and the stratified. Okay, so and this, if you see in this overall epithelial tissue, the cells are very closely packed. Okay, and the intracellular, whenever we say intercellular substances, means these substances which are present in between the cells. Okay, intracellular means inside, and intercellular means outside of the cells. So in intercellular substances, that means those substances which are present in between the two cells. Okay, called the matrix is also very minimal. Because why it is minimal? Because if you see even from the diagram itself, the cells, okay, they are being organized in a very compact way. Okay, the cells usually lie on the basement. So the basement membranes, which is it, if you see from the diagram, the blue color. Okay, so that blue color in which the cell it is being embedded, that is called as a basement membrane. Okay, or the lower part, the lower layer, that is called as a basement membranes, and which it is an inert connective tissue made by the epithelial cells themselves. Okay, and the epithelial tissue, it is divided again into simple and stratified. So what is the main difference actually between the simple and stratified is that whenever we say simple, it has only a single layers of cells. Okay, so if you see from the first diagram, so that is a simple columnar. Okay, columnar, that means the cells have this particular rectangular type of shape, and in the middle, whatever you see, that is a nucleus. Okay, then if we say stratified, so whenever we say stratified, that means it have different types of cells. Like if you see at the bottom of the at the lower layer, it have the column cuboidal cells. After that, in the upper layer, it has a squamous type. Okay, so this is the main difference between simple and stratified. Whenever we say simple, it have only one type layers of cell, only a single layers of this same types of cells. And if you say stratified, it has several layers of cells. Okay, I hope everyone is clear till now. Yes or
Yes,
no?
sir.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay, so
Yes, ma'am.
now we will see one by one. Okay, again under the simple, it is also divided into three types. Again under stratified is also being divided into two types. Okay, so please you be very thorough with this division. Okay, you might be a little bit confused because it might have many division, but don't worry, if you go through, okay, you'll be able to remember. Again in the simple. Okay, so the first types we have again two type. Okay, we have again three types, sorry. We have the simple columnar. So remember all the name, okay, all the subdivision is based on the shape. Like if simple columnar, that means if you see from the first diagram, the cell it have a rectangular shape. Okay, with the nucleus present at near the basement. Okay, it is not at the center directly. And if you say simple cuboidal, that means it have that particular shape. Okay, little bit like square type of shape. This is called as a simple cuboidal. Then squamous, it has that little bit flat type of shape. Okay, so that is the main difference between these three. So these three cells, it is being divided based on the shape. Okay, so like if we have simple columnar, we have simple cuboidal, it have a cube type, okay, or a square type of shape, and we have this squamous. Okay, it has that particular type of shape, flattened, where the cells are very flat. Okay, so it consists of a single layer. Whenever we say simple epithelium, okay, so it have only a single layer of identical cells, and it is divided into three main types. Okay, all this columnar, cuboidal, and squamous. It is usually found on absorptive or secretory surfaces where the single layer enhances these process and are not usually on the surfaces subject to stress. Okay, so they are mainly present in those type of cells where we have to perform all this type of absorption or secreting some form of hormones. Okay, so absorption mainly, if you say absorption mainly in your small intestines, okay, where lots of absorption usually takes place, where like I've already said also, lots of nutrients, water, it is being absorbed. So in those type of surfaces where lots of absorption is needed, then any form of secretion is needed, okay, enzymes, anything. So in those type of surfaces, these cells are usually present, simple epithelial cells. And the more the active the tissue are, the taller will be the cells. So there will be more and more cells will be laid out. If they are more active, so the taller will be the cells. So this is about simple epithelium. Okay, so just remember, in simple epithelium, it have only a single layers of cells, identical cells. All cells will be only one type of cells will be there. It doesn't have any combination of any like two, three types of cells. Okay. If the cells are in columnar, that means we'll have a layer of columnar cells. If they are cuboidal, we'll have layers of cuboidal type of cells. And the more active, the more taller, and the cells will be. Okay, so we'll see with the division one by one. So the first one is called as the squamous epithelium. Okay, so the squamous epithelium, if you see the diagram number A, okay, that is a squamous epithelium where the cells, it has only a single layers, and the cells is very flat, if you can see, and the whatever it is there in the middle round, okay, that is the nucleus. Okay, so the cells, they fit closely together like a flat stones, as you can see from the diagram itself, forming a thin and a very smooth membranes across which diffusion easily occurs with the nuclei at the center. So anyone can tell me what they mean by diffusion? What is diffusion? Yes, yesterday only I have discussed, right? Diffusion is an active or passive transport.
Passive.
Passive.
Yes, very good. So diffusion is a movement of fluid from the which one?
High.
Higher to
Higher to low,
lower
higher
Concentration.
concentration to lower
okay,
concentration.
so that is the meaning of the word diffusion. So here also actually these type of cells, okay, these type of squamous epithelium, okay, so they are helping in, they are usually present in those area where we have, okay, in which we need the form of diffusion type of transportation. Okay, then what is actually where we usually find this squamous epithelium? Whenever we say lining, that means in which part of the body or in which organs they are usually covering. Okay, so it is usually found in the heart. Okay, or heart, where it is known as the endocardium. Endocardium, it is actually the inside covering of the heart. Okay, this also you'll be learning more in details when you will study about the cardiovascular system. Okay, so whenever we say endo means inside, and cardium actually it is for the name given for the heart. Okay, so endocardium, that means the inside covering of the heart, inner layer, that is called as the endocardium. Okay, the blood vessels and the lymph nodes, okay, which is called as the endothelium, that means the inside of your blood vessels, your lymph. Okay, this also you'll be learning more and more. Okay, and when you learn about your lymphatic systems, your connective tissue and all. Then alveoli of the lung. Okay, so alveoli is actually it is an air sac. Okay, where we have in our lungs. So with the help of that, we breathe in oxygen, breathe out carbon dioxide. So it is an air sac. Okay, then like a pouch type. Okay, which is there inside our lungs. Then the lining of the collecting ducts of the nephrons. Okay, so nephrons also, they are important functional units of the kidneys where all the filtration work. I think at least you might have known that a kidney usually it helps in the purifying of the blood. Okay, it helps in secretion of the all the extra waste. Okay, like have where waste is secreted in the form of urine. Okay, so even this also, when you learn about your this one urinary system, you'll be learning more in details about the kidneys. But actually the nephrons, they are actually called as the functional unit of the kidney because they are the main type, which the main part of the kidney, which really helps in the filtration. Okay, it helps in purifying whatever waste is there. Okay, so actually this is what it is in the squamous epithelium. Okay, so remember squamous epithelium, it is has got a single layer of flattened cells, okay, as you can see from the diagram. And the main where it is usually found, it is found in the heart as an endocardium, in the blood vessels and the lymph nodes as an endothelium. Okay, then the alveoli of the lung, then the lining collecting ducts of the nephrons in the kidneys. Okay, so this is about the squamous epithelium. Okay, so we will go with the second one, which is called as the cuboidal epithelium. So cuboidal epithelium also, why, how does it derives its name? It is usually from its shape. If you can see, it has about a cube type of shape. Whenever we say cube, that means it is a square type of shape. Okay, small square. It consists of a cube-shaped cells fitting closely together, lying on a basement membrane. So okay, if you see from the diagram, it is diagram number B. Okay, so all these cells, they are directly lied on the basement membranes. Basement membrane, it acts as the lowest part, or the lowest structure of where all these it is being embedded. Okay, and this basement membrane also, how is it formed? It is formed by the epithelial tissue itself. Okay, and where do we find this cuboidal epithelium? It formed the kidney tubules, and it is also found in some glands. And this cuboidal epithelium, it is actively involved in secretion, absorption, okay, excretion. So secretion also, like I've already said, okay, which is also the main function of the epithelial tissue, where it secretes some form of hormones, enzymes. Then it also absorbs in some form of nutrients, water. Excretion means it is excrete out any waste materials from inside our body. Okay, so in those types, especially if you see the kidney, because the kidney is actually the main organ in our body, okay, which really helps in the eliminating of all the waste products. So how we eliminate it? In the form of urination. Okay, so this is actually about the cuboidal epithelium. So it is a cube shaped cells. Okay, and it is found in the kidney tubules, and it's also some glands. And the main function of this is usually, it is like other epithelial tissue. This is also actively involved in the process of secretion, absorption, and excretion. Okay. So the next we will see is the columnar epithelium. Okay, so the columnar epithelium, it is usually formed by a single layers of cells. Okay, if you can see from here also, the third diagram, that is called a columnar, and the columnar, it have got a rectangular type of shape. Okay, and it is also lying on a basement membranes, and it lines many organs and often has adaptations that make it well suited to a specific function. Okay, so whenever any type, so if it's needed to be if it needs to function as in the process of absorption. So it will try to modify itself, okay, in such a way that it will be able to adapt itself and perform that function. Okay. The lining of the stomach, it is formed from the simple columnar epithelium without any type of any other surface structures. So the inner lining of the stomach. So stomach is actually also, it is also called as a hollow organ. Okay. So whenever we say hollow, that means it is a hollow means empty. Okay, so this is also a hollow organ, and inside the stomach we have the columnar epithelium. Okay, the surface of the columnar epithelium, it also lines the small intestines. Small intestine is actually the part of the digestive system. Okay, so after the stomach, okay, we have the small intestines, then we have the large intestines. Okay, so all this also you'll be learning. You'll be very thorough when you learn the digestive system. Okay, then it is usually covered with the microvilli. Okay, if you remember, actually microvilli, they are tiny projections. Okay, so this microvilli, actually they really helps. They are the one which really helps in absorbing whatever nutrients, whatever water it is, which pass down from the stomach. Okay, from the stomach, whatever you're eating, it will go down to the small intestine. So who will do the absorption and all? It will be of the with the help of this microvilli. Okay, and this microvilli also provides a very large surface area for the absorption of nutrients from the small intestine. And in the trachea, okay, actually the trachea, it is a part of your respiratory system. Okay, so after your this one, so this also, if you when you learn your respiratory system, you'll be know. Okay, so you will be knowing about the trachea. Okay, so it is also a part of the respiratory system or respiratory tract. So the columnar epithelium, it is ciliated. Okay, why it is ciliated? Because ciliated, if you remember, these are like hair-like projection. So this ciliated means, and it has got a specific whip-like movement. So it helps in the removing any foreign materials entering inside the lungs. So how we remove that foreign material in the form of mucus, okay? So sputum, okay? So that is the main reason why we cough out whatever sputum, okay, it is being collected. We used to cough out, okay? So that how it is done with the help of the this ciliated type of cells, okay? And it also contains goblet cells that secretes the mucus. So these actually goblet cells, actually there are specific types of cells which secretes this mucus. Then in the uterine tubes, okay, so the ova are propelled along by the ciliary actions towards the uterus. Okay, uterine tubes actually it is a part of the female reproductive organs. Okay, so where we have so this also you'll be learning when you learn more about the reproductive systems. So you'll be learning about the how after the menstrual cycle, how okay during the ovulation period, okay this ovum will be released, okay, then after that it will go to the uterine tube where then who okay how that process is done with the help of this ciliary. Whenever we say ciliary, that means it has got a whip like movement. That means it helps in pushing or taking that particular substance or anything inside the any body organs. Okay, so this is actually about the columnar. Okay, so just remember in columnar it has got a rectangular shape, and also it where it is lining, it is usually lining in the stomach. So how it is lining in the stomach as a especially in the small intestines, it is usually as act as a microvilli. Okay, microvilli it is that specific types of cells which have a hair, okay, tiny projections, and this really helps in the absorption. Okay, this microvilli also, if you remember, I have discussed when I have discussed it related to the cells. Okay, then this then in the trachea of the reproductive tract, in the trachea of the respiratory tract, we have this columnar epithelium is ciliated. So so this ciliated, if these are like hair like projection, and it helps in the movement of any substance across the particular tract. Okay, so and in the uterine tubes, which is of the female reproductive organs, okay, it helps in the movement of the ova or the egg. Okay, so this is usually done for if so the to make to function the process of fertilization. Okay, so actually this is actually about the columnar epithelium. Okay, so which is the third part of the simple epithelial tissues. So are you clear with the simple? Okay, in the simple we have this simple columnar, cuboidal, and the squamous epithelium. Any questions till now? Yes. Any
No,
questions?
ma'am.
No. Are you clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'll move on with the second types of the epithelial tissue, which is called as a stratified. Okay, so whenever we say stratified, that means it have got several layers of various shapes of cells, as you can see from the diagram. So if you see from the diagram itself, the lower layer, those are the columnar cells. Then in the middle layer, we have the cuboidal cells, and in the upper layer, we have the squamous cells. So this is actually the main difference between the simple and the stratified. If you remember, in the simple, we have only one type of cells. Okay, either it can be squamous, it can be cuboidal, or it can be columnar. Okay, but if when we say stratified, that means it has got contained of several types of cells. And even here, if you see in stratified, they don't have any basement. Okay, if you remember in the simple, we have each and every cells are being embedded or they lie on a basement. Okay, but here they don't have any basement. The basement are usually absent in the stratified epithelial, and the main function of this stratified epithelial is to protect any underlying structures from any mechanical wear and tear. Okay, and we have two types of this simple. We have the stratified squamous and we have the transitional epithelia. Okay, so these are under this stratified also we have two types. So under the simple epithelium we have three types. Okay, simple cuboidal, simple columnar, and simple squamous. And under this stratified we have stratified squamous and transitional. We have two types. So let's discuss one by one. So the first one is called as the stratified squamous epithelium. Okay, so this is actually composed of a numbers of layers of cells. Okay, and in the deepest layers the cells are mainly columnar, as you can see from the diagram. Okay, so the cells are usually columnar, And when they grow towards the surface, they become flat. Okay, so the more they are growing, the more they become flat, and after that, they have to shed off. That means they are removed. And they are again subdivided into keratinized and non-keratinized. So the main difference between keratinized and non-keratinized is that these keratinized type of stratified epithelium, they are found on dry surfaces, okay? And non-keratinized, they are found on moist surfaces, okay? So which I'll show you. Okay, so this keratinized stratified, these are usually found on dry surfaces, like for example in the skin, in the hair, and the nails, okay? And the surface layer consists of dead epithelial cells, and that's what our skin actually it used to be used to shed. Even our skins, we might not realize it, but we have, that's what our skin actually used to shed off, okay? And even nails, okay, even hair, that's why whenever we cut our hair and nails, it grows and we used to cut, okay? So this is actually the main reason, okay? And the surface layer consists of dead epithelial cells that have lost their nuclei and contain the protein keratin, okay? So if you see from the diagram, so that is the keratinized stratified epithelium. And the more they grow, actually the more the cells becomes more and more layered up. Then at the surface layer it becomes very flat, and after that it's shed off, okay, or it is being removed. And even the nuclei is also lost. And if you see the non-keratinized, okay, and actually this keratinized certified epithelium, it forms a very tough, relatively waterproof protective layer that prevents drying of the cells underneath, okay. Okay, that word actually it is not there, okay, drying of the cells underneath. And the surface layer of the skin, it is rubbed off and replaced from below. Okay, that is how our skin it's being replaced. So again, suppose if that is, suppose the upper layer it is gone, again it will keep on growing, again it will get flattened up, then in upper layer again it will be removed. So that process will go on and on, okay. Then if you say non-keratinized, it protects the moist surfaces, like for example from any wear and tear. Wear and tear, that means from any form of injury. Okay, whenever we say wear and tear, it is any form of injury. And to prevent them from any drying out, because moist surfaces, it needs to be moisturized, or it needs to be, it should not be dry, okay. For example is the conjunctiva of the eye, okay. So that's why, I mean, or if you see our eyes, it's always moist, okay. It's not dry. When we don't, every one of us, our eyes, okay, it's always this one moist. And the lining of the mouth, okay, that's the main reason why we always, even our mouth also, it's always moist, okay. Then the pharynx, which is also the, actually it is a first part of the, it is also the part of your respiratory tract. And the esophagus and the vagina, okay. So these are actually the main difference between keratinized and non-keratinized. Keratinized, they are seen on the dry surfaces, and I mean it helps in prevention of the, protects the layer from any, this one, it helps in maintaining, okay. And if you see the non-keratinized, it is formed on moist surfaces and it protects them from any, from drying out. So it helps in keeping that area or particular surfaces moist. Then if you see the third type, okay, that is the the second type of this stratified epithelium, it is the transitional. Okay, so transitional, it is actually consists of several layers of pear-shaped cells, as you can see from the diagram itself. And usually where it is found, so this is actually found in lining of the urinary bladder. And it allows for stretching as the bladder fills, because what happened, a urinary bladder, it is where the urine will be collected, okay. So the more urine will be collected, so the more the urinary bladder will be stretched, okay. So in those type of organs or okay, in those type of organs or surfaces where stretching is required, so in those type of uh, surfaces or organs, we have this urinary, we have this transitional epithelium. So that is actually, if you see from the diagram, number A, that is actually how a relaxed transitional epithelium is, and number B, it is how it, when it is stretched. Okay, so this is actually about the stratified epithelia. Okay, we have the stratified squamous, and under the stratified squamous, we have keratinized and non-keratinized. So keratinized is found on the dry surfaces, non-keratinized it is found on the moist surface. And for example, the dry surfaces is like your, okay, all these surfaces of your skin, okay, hair, nails. And if you say moist surfaces, it is all those lining of the conjunctiva of the eye, lining of the mouth, and all, okay. And in this transitional epithelium, which is the second types of stratified, it is usually found lining the urinary bladder, where we need stretching. Okay, because a bladder, it is like I've said, it's an area where all our urine will be collected there, and from the blood it acts as a uh, this one, it's a pouch. It is like a pouch type where whatever urine it is being produced from the kidney, it will filter, it will go to the urinary bladder. From the urinary bladder, it will go to, with the help of the ureters. It is like a tube type. Then our urine will be excreted out. Okay, so this is all about the epithelial tissue. Okay, so are you clear with this? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
remember this epithelial tissue, it have got two main subdivisions, simple and stratified. Okay, and under simple, we have this columnar, cuboidal, and squamous. Then, if under the stratified,
Ma'am,
yes, yes,
ma'am, can you please show the previous slide? Ma'am, that simple epithelial cells. Ma'am,
yes,
not this, the before one.
this one,
Yes, ma'am, this one.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, the third point, ma'am, I did not understand the third point.
Actually, the more active the tissue, that means if the tissue, if they are more active, if they need to do more function, the cells will, the layer will be more and more layer. Suppose those cells which are not so actively involved in any function, they will have two layers, suppose for example, and those who needs to perform many function, they will have 4 or 5 layers. That is the meaning of the word. And that means if they have more layer, that means the length of the cell also will be more taller and taller. No? You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Actually,
Thank you,
these
ma'am.
cells, they here it is shown as this one, okay, but they used to layer. That means layer. That means they will be on top of again, but the same type of cells will be on top of each other. So if the cells, if that particular type of organ, if it is lining, suppose if it's lining certain type of organs that needs to perform many function, okay, so it will become, it will have more layer. Suppose instead of 2 layer, it will have 3, okay, and if it have 3 layer, that means it becomes more and more. The length will be more and more taller. That is the main meaning of this word. Okay, clear?
Okay, ma'am. Clear, ma'am.
You're clear, right? Okay, so just keep that. Okay, so the more active, that means they will become more taller. How it become taller? Because the cell, it will keep on layered itself. That means on top of that cell again they will have one more, but the same types of cells will be there. Not like stratified. In stratified, we, as you have seen, we have a combination of so many types of cells. So it can be a combination of either three or all those. So this is about the simple epithelium. Okay. And under simple also, how the division it takes place, mostly because of the shape. Okay, like if you see columnar, rectangular shape, cuboidal is cube shape, squamous is flat. Okay. So this is the about the simple. Okay, I hope everyone is clear. So in the evening class, okay, from 3 to 4, I will take on the second type of tissue. Okay, that is connective tissue. So I hope everyone is clear with the epithelial tissue.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
I will
Yes,
be
ma'am.
sharing the slides in the later class, okay, from 3 to 4. So after I discuss with epithelial tissue, then after that in next week maybe we will see with the different types of tissue again, nervous tissue, muscles tissue. Okay. Okay, thank you everyone. Okay, see you in the evening class.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Thank you,
ma'am.
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 Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.